WWE guy, I did not want to preview Saturday Night's main event because I did not feel like that it wasn't a SummerSlam worthy show. In my opinion, they kind of did throw this card together. I kind of figured Josh really wasn't going to be that interested in previewing it, so I left it off the rundown in favor of talking about the major title change that happened on AEW Dynamite, which we are going to get to. But then Josh tells me, no, actually, I do want to talk about this show. So Josh, take it away.
So most of the card is just like, whatever. We have the women's tag team championship match. Brie Bella and Paige defending against Fatal Influence. Okay. We have the Roman Reigns, Jalen Brunson segment thing. Makes sense. The Knicks won the championship. It's at Madison Square Garden. Sure, why not? JD McDonough is facing Danhausen in what's going to be essentially a comedy, goofy wrestling for life type of match. Okay.
I will say this, though. This is a big spotlight for JD McDonough. To my knowledge, this is his first ever one-on-one match on I don't know if you want to call it a PLE or it's a TV special, whatever you want to call it. This is his first big-time moment on a main roster, and he's working with a guy who, let's face it, yes, I agree with you. It's very similar to Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 38. It's going to be comedy galore, especially because it's a no disqualification match. But this could be a way to get JD McDonough over and eventually a babyface. I mean, I really think they are giving JD a real spot here and a ball to run with, because it very easily could have been JD versus Dom. Dom is the more marketable star, but no, they gave it to JD. I think it's significant.
And I think this is going to help push forward the story of the Judgment Day breakup. So, yes, it's going to be comedy. Yes, it's going to be goofy, but it's going to serve a purpose. But then last night on Raw, because I did see this on social media, we got the segment with Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. I thought they were going to save match number 1 between them for SummerSlam, because Lyra just turned heel, and you want to have that big, first match in what's probably going to end up being a series of matches at SummerSlam. No, it's going to be Saturday night's main event at Madison Square Garden, Lyra versus Bayley. This one kind of came out of left field for me. I think it's going to be a great match, don't get me wrong, but it's surprising that they're doing the first match, the one that kind of sets the pace for everything, after Lyra's big heel turn at Saturday night's main event. It feels like a really weird spot.
And I've said this before, I am disappointed. I think one of the biggest things over the past year that WWE has fumbled has been Bayley's momentum, especially because she was building that great character where she was going crazy, and then she would be happy, and then she would go crazy again, and Lyra would have to calm her down. And then that character seemingly disappeared. Bayley and Lyra, I thought, had a great story going into WrestleMania, where last year Lyra won the women's tag team titles with Becky Lynch because Bayley was taken out. And at that point, Bayley didn't know that Becky Lynch was the one to take her out. Then Lyra and Bayley feud with Becky over the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Then they get a tag team. I thought, give them a tag team title run. They never gave them a tag team title run. And so, I don't know. Bayley's sort of in this weird stage that a lot of the women right now on the roster are in, which is, you've been in title feuds before, but at this point, we don't want to give you the title, so we're going to let you work as a babyface and try to get Lyra over, which I thought Lyra was starting to get over as a babyface, and then they turn her heel, and she looks good as a heel. I'm interested to see how her ring work transitions to being a heel.
By the way they're portraying her as a heel, it resembles. It reminds me of Tatum Paxley down in NXT. Could this be their way of getting Tatum up to the main roster to pair her with Lyra and form this new faction, stable, whatever word you want to use, to go against Bayley and another baby face?
I'm going to be transparent. I don't watch NXT, so I really don't know anything about Paxley. And so if that does happen on the main roster, it will be new to me.
Fair enough. You probably would disregard this, but there is speculation that maybe Bayley's not going to re-sign with WWE and she might end up coming over to AEW. I don't know if you saw Mercedes.
And I did see the post, and I'll be honest, at this point, I would not blame Bayley, and I think Bayley should. And I've said this about Sheamus, who I know is no longer with WWE, and I said it about the New Day, and I'm going to say it about Bayley now. These are people that, in my opinion, AEW should not only sign, they probably will sign. They will get used, and they will eventually be used somewhat because AEW is going to end up signing way too many more people that WWE releases. But WWE is now telling you, we are in an age movement era. And yes, there are guys like the New Day, and there's guys like Sheamus, and there are women like Bayley who are viewed as WWE wipers, and they've done everything in the industry. And I get it. And they're signing these lucrative contracts. But if you're not going to be used on TV as prominently, and you're getting paid the same like you are, I totally understand from both sides. I understand the wrestler side saying, no, I am worth this. I want to be paid. And I understand WWE saying, hey, at this point, we want to go in a different direction. It's best for both sides to get cut. So if Bayley leaves WWE, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. And I actually think it wouldn't be a bad move for her to go to AEW.
And then we get to what's probably going to be the main event.
They did announce last night on Raw that it will be the main event.
Okay.
Now, I'm wondering, because they said this will be our match main event. I am wondering if that means the actual main event will be Roman Reigns and Jalen Brunson, but I'm going off this for now.
I would guess the Roman Reigns, Jalen Brunson thing is going to be the main event. It makes sense. Again, the Knicks won the championship. They're in Madison Square Garden. It's Roman Reigns and it's Jalen Brunson. But it's this strange tag team match. Gunther and Sami Zayn versus CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Of course, kind of all four of these guys are tied together because you had everything with Cody, Gunther, and Sammy going into Night of Champions and Clash in Italy and all that. And then Punk beat Sammy for the title. And now we're set to see Cody versus Punk for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. So all four of them are tied together in this weird way. I'm still trying to figure it out. Even though I did just explain it, it's still...
I think you did just explain it. There's nothing to explain. There's nothing weird about it. The story is Cody and Gunther were feuding over the championship. Sammy got himself involved in the championship with Cody. Sammy becomes a special guest referee in that match against Gunther. Sammy wins the championship. Then Sammy and Cody supposed to have a rematch. Gunther says, F you, Cody Rhodes. I'm going to take him out because, Sammy, I want you to beat Cody easily. Well, Cody can't compete. So CM Punk dresses at his house, comes to the Allstate Arena in Chicago, walks for the back door, and now it's champion. And Gunther still feels like he's owed a rematch from Night of Champions, even though he really doesn't. But in his mind, he does.
Yep, and we're probably going to get him versus Nick Aldis at SummerSlam.
And what will probably be, if you want to call it a career-threatening match, or I don't know what you want to call it, but if I'm WWE, I don't have Nick Aldis take off his shirt till SummerSlam. I want him to come out at SummerSlam with his suit on, and he just rips that suit off, and you just get this ripped guy. Because Gunther has been calling him a failed wrestler. I'm not saying Nick Aldis is going to win that match because I don't think there's any shot in hell he's going to. But I want Nick Aldis to give me every single bit of wrestling that he did on the indies because as a WWE fan, I don't know Nick Aldis' work, but I've always heard about this guy, a lot like Adam Pearce, former NWA World Champion. I want to see that guy in Nick Aldis.
When I say it's weird, like the whole dynamic of this is weird because on one side you got Cody and Punk who are going to be opponents at SummerSlam, but now they have to work together in this tag team match. And on the other side, you have Sammy and Gunther who were involved with this whole thing with the WWE Championship. And now they're being put together as a tag team. So that's the weird part for me. And that's where the whole, even though I did just explain it, yes, but it's still confusing and doesn't totally make sense, even with that whole thing. Does that make sense?
I would have booked the weirdest match ever at the start of the night's main event. Because I would have booked CM Punk and Cody Rhodes as a tag team. But I would have booked him against two different competitors. I would have booked CM Punk and Cody Rhodes teaming up against The Shield, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns, and I would have put a stipulation on it. The winner of this tag team match got to main event night 2 of SummerSlam.
Yeah. I did see that match floating around on social media.
Well, because, or you could also think about all the connections between, and I get it, Gunther and Sammy have this too, so you really could have did different versions, right? You could have done Punk and Sammy against Cody and Gunther. You could have done Punk and Gunther against Sammy and Cody. You could do Punk and Roman against Seth and Cody. You could do Punk and Seth against Roman and Cody. You could do Punk and whatever else. You get what I'm saying? I got mixed up on my combinations there. All three combinations all have history with each other.
Exactly.
So, but shall we get to what happened 6 days ago on AEW Dynamite, because a new world champion was crowned and his name is Kenny Omega. MJF is no longer AEW World Champion.
Yeah. This happened at Beach Break, and of course, MJF put the stipulation in place that he did with Hangman, who is also back. It was just randomly announced that he was going to make his return at Collision, which he did. But going into that Texas Death Match, the only way Hangman got MJF to agree to that, being the Texas Death Match, is if he agreed to MJF's stipulation that if he lost, he could never challenge for the title again. MJF put that same stipulation in place with Kenny. Of course, Kenny ended up winning, but I thought they were going to do this match at Redemption because the name of the pay-per-view is Redemption. It's happening in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Kenny Omega is from Canada, so I really thought they would do the title change there, but no, they did the title change on Dynamite. There's arguments going around that AEW only did it to try and steal the thunder because, of course, Punk won the title against Sammy on Monday Night Raw. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either. I believe they were doing it to sell all-in London tickets, though I don't understand why, because in my opinion, MJF is a bigger star.
Whatever reason, they think people want to see Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay at Wembley.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, I've heard that match has happened before, where the MJF Will Ospreay match, I don't know if it hasn't happened or it hasn't happened in a long time.
So, Ospreay MJF happened the last time they did All In at Wembley.
Okay, so it would have been a year later.
Yeah. And Ospreay, Kenny Omega did happen at Forbidden Door in Toronto. I'm trying. That was when Punk was on the show. So it was either, I think it was 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, does Kenny have a match for Redemption yet? Or are they going to announce it tomorrow?
Kenny does not have a match for Redemption, which is weird because Redemption's in 2 weeks. It's on the 26th of July. Unfortunately, I will not be in town to watch it. I will be in South Carolina. In fact, I don't know if I'll be able to watch SummerSlam either, actually.
Oh, you're going to be in South Carolina that whole week?
Yeah. But I will try and still do the show. I'll stay in contact with you about it. I just might have to do it remotely.
Well, we're already doing it remotely, so you're in
you know what I mean.
You mean
in a different location? You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I'm just pulling your rib. Listen, hearing you talk, because I haven't heard anybody float this idea out there. Is there a shot they do a triple threat? Omega, Ospreay, MJF?
I believe that could very well be the case, and I would love it. It definitely seems like that it could be going in that direction because MJF and Ospreay have really been going at it. And Ospreay basically cost MJF the title on Wednesday because he was going to use the Dynamite Diamond ring. Ospreay comes down and rips it away from Max.
Oh, I did watch the match. It was pretty good, except my biggest gripe of the whole thing is when MJF hits Omega with the championship and he kicks out at freaking one. Like he didn't even hit him with the championship.
AEW likes to bend the rules.
Yeah, that's the AEW. Listen, it is the AEW style. The fans eat it up. It's not my cup of tea. I think it makes the product look terribly silly. So there's a difference between comedy and just bad wrestling. That's my point of view and my point of view only. I get it. Dave Meltzer thought it was 5 3/4 stars. He thought it was the greatest match he's ever seen. Once again, convenient.
To a certain degree, I can understand what you're saying. So I'm not saying you're crazy or you're talking out of your butt or something like that. I personally love it. I think it's a different style, like you said, and
I think there's place for it. Like WWE does it occasionally. Cena and Cody did it in their match last year at SummerSlam, and I didn't love it either. Cena does the the Avalanche AA from the top rope, and Cody kicks out. I'm going, what the fuck are we doing? Like, one of the reasons why I love Baron Corbin, speaking of a guy who came back, because End of Days is the most protected finisher in wrestling.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see what WWE does with him because he came back and kind of inserted himself into the United States Championship picture. But
no, I'm very curious because from what I was reading from the AEW audience, it seemed mostly positive on Omega, but it was sort of mixed. And the mixed part was like, what do you do with MJF now?
Yeah, that's the weird part is I don't think you run the rematch at Redemption, but you can't really build a legit title feud in 2 weeks to where...
The one thing I will give AEW credit for and why this does feel like a big moment, and I could be wrong, was this the first time the world title changed hands on Dynamite since Moxley beat Punk?
No, I think so. Moxley beat Punk for the title on Dynamite. The only other time I can think of the men's world championship changing hands on Dynamite. Oh, no. Darby beat MJF.
Oh, that's right. Darby did beat MJF. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
I don't know how I blanked out on that.
Yeah,
I don't know why I thought That was right off a pay-per-view, right?
Yes, that was right off of Dynasty.
Okay.
The other time I can think of it happening, winter is coming. MJF, Kenny Omega clonks Moxley. I meant to say
But
John
that was
Moxley.
basically a pay-per-view on Dynamite.
Yes, I did mean to say John Moxley. I don't know why I said MJF there, but
I guess my point is it doesn't happen often. So when it does happen, there should be some shock value to it. And I do give Tony credit for that.
yes.
See, I'm not being all negative.
Yes. It was announced that All Out is going to be in Chicago at Now Arena. And they did just announce that Full Gear is going to be at the Phoenix Suns Arena. Hey, Tony, Cleveland wants a pay-per-view, please.
That's right. You guys still have not gotten a pay. That does seem weird to me. Cleveland does deserve a pay-per-view. I will say that.
Cleveland hasn't even gotten a Dynamite yet this year.
Wait, they haven't been in Cleveland at all this year?
No.
Well, I do. They just announced, I don't know if you saw it, they're going to do a double taping of SmackDown and Raw at the end of August. I don't know if that has something to do with it.
I don't know. Yeah, that is. I did see that Raw and SmackDown is going to be a double taping. I thought it was just going to be a SmackDown.
Originally, it was a SmackDown. I already have my tickets for SmackDown, so I get 2 shows in one.
Yeah, have fun.
Which will be interesting. I've never been to a double taping before. Some people say they're awesome. Some people say the second show is a snooze fest. So
yeah,
we will see.
Kenny's supposed to have like a championship celebration tomorrow on Dynamite. I'm sure somebody's going to interrupt during that. We'll see. We only have one confirmed match for Redemption right now, and it's Tekla against Willow Nightingale for the Women's World Championship. And the winner of that will face Mercedes Moné at All In for the title. Who the champion will be, most likely Tekla, but well, she has to get through Willow. But we don't have any other matches confirmed for Redemption. I'm sure some will get confirmed tomorrow night on Dynamite because you kind of have to. This is what AEW usually does. It'll be like 2 or 3 weeks out, and they're like, okay, here's a match for the pay-per-view. Here's a match for the pay-per-view. Oh, guess what? Here's another match for the pay-per-view.